You're doing great. You're almost to the end of chapter 2 of HTML and CSS for future programmers. This chapter concludes with checking our work. And it's a really important thing because when you're learning something new, you want to be able to self-assess, self-evaluate, so that you can catch any sort of problem or misunderstanding that you might have early on. So I'm going to share with you a web page that has some problems. There's the checkme.html page. We're going to look at that in just a moment. I'm going to suggest, though, that we do something wild and crazy. I'm going to suggest that we use a browser called FireFox. You may or may not have heard of that, but if you're using Chrome or Safari or Edge or any of those other browsers, FireFox is just another browser. So I have here on my screen, I have my Hello World web page that we were looking at previously. Right now I'm signed into Chrome, but if I were to open up a new tab and go to Google, I could say something like download Firefox browser, and I would be taken directly to Get Firefox for Desktop at mozilla.org, and that would be where I would go to do this. Now I already have Firefox installed on my machine, so I'm going to use that. There's Firefox. You'll notice that it looks just like every other browser, and just in the interest of simplicity, I'm just going to type this URL in. So I'm going to type in https://misdemo.temple.edu/future/check.me.html. And there's my hello world page. What I just did there, incidentally, let me go back one, is I didn't type that in the search box in the middle of the page. I typed it up here in what's known as the address bar, and just about every browser has an address bar, a place for you to type in an explicit reference. This is a URL. It starts with HTTPS and a colon and some slashes. So it's a very specific thing. It's not a general search term. It's more like a mailing address. This is exactly where I want to go. I'm going to take a look at this page, and I'm going to use the view source feature of Firefox, and it's going to tell me if there's any sort of problem with this page. Ready? Here I go. View page source. That was a right mouse click and view page source, and I'm kind of zoomed in to a high degree here, and you can see that there is a problem with the HTML of this page. It's underlined in red, and I can see I have opened up my paragraph tag, but look down here. I look at that, I say, well, what's wrong with that? Well, here the slash is going the wrong way. This slash is a backward slash, and this slash is a forward slash, and it's the wrong slash. And so that is incorrect HTML. That's incorrect syntax, and the Firefox view source is alerting me to that fact. Firefox view source does this better than any other browser I have encountered. No, that's not to say that there aren't extensions and plugins and other cool fancy tools on Chrome and every other browser under the sun, but Firefox does this really well, just out of the box, so to speak. So I like to look at that. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this tool up here in the upper right hand corner called Wave. Wave is an extension to Firefox. So I'm going to go down here into my search bar. I'm going to type in Wave Firefox extension, and it's going to take me to an organization called WebAIM.org, wave.webaim.org. And if I were to follow that link, I would have the option of installing and turning on this little extension. What this does is it will give me an indication as to whether or not my page is accessible. Remember in chapter 1, I talked about how there are screen readers and also web crawlers that want to read your page for various purposes, either to make it accessible to a person with disabilities or to collect information about the page. The WAVE tool will help me find accessibility problems. So an accessibility problem isn't necessarily an HTML problem, is what I'm trying to illustrate here. This is a problem with my HTML syntax, but there's another problem with this page. And if I click on the WAVE accessibility checker, I can see that this page has one error. And you say, well, I don't know what that is. So I'm going to click on details. And it's telling me that there is a missing or uninformative page title. That is, if I were to go look at the view source for this page, there's no title tag inside of the head tag, like we saw on the slide deck. So that's a problem for accessibility. And it's much, much better to check your work as you go than to build a great big thing and then save all of the accessibility checking for the very last moment, the very last, end stages of the project. It's better to build it right up front and check as you go. It's a much more healthy and productive way of going about things. So we now have two ways of checking our work. We can check view source in Firefox, and we can also check for accessibility with the WAVE extension provided by an organization called WebAIM. So there you go. You made it to the end of chapter 2. It's time for a break. If you're learning from this video material, if you're getting anything out of it, I would appreciate a like on the video and a share. You can find all this content on YouTube at Fox MIS Department. And this is non-monetized content, so the only way it gets promoted and recognized is if it gets, liked and shared. So I appreciate your help and look forward to seeing you in chapter 3. See you soon.